The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and I'm calling it the Good Stuff Live, but here we are on a Monday evening, which is not usually when I live stream, but it's a special occasion for sure because I've got three very special guests this evening. Whenever we get together, we like to call this thing a RetroPALooza. It's a play on all sorts of words. We're talking about retro stuff, and it's just a smorgasbord of all sorts of really cool stuff. And then right smack in the middle there is the term pal. These definitely are my pals, my brothers from other mothers, and I'd like to bring them on as quickly as possible tonight. We're going to keep this Palooza event. It's going to be lean and mean, probably somewhere around between an hour and a half. And we've got lots of really fun things to do tonight. We're going to talk about trading cards, bubblegum cards, lunchboxes, anything else our heart desires. We're going to bring you guys into the conversations at varying points. We won't be answering questions throughout the evening, just all the time, because we're going to be talking and conversing. But there will be points where we're asking you guys to contribute, to share your thoughts, some of your favorite memories as well. If I see a super chats get precedence, I'm going to pop in and we're going to address that as quickly as possible. But otherwise, it's just it's going to be a fun evening of conversation with a little bit of trivia. I've got a 5-question trivia quiz at the very end, just to keep keep mentally sharp. So we'll do that as well. But let's go ahead and bring on my friends, my good friends. I'm going to go alphabetically. So we're going to go with the guy that I didn't do a mic check with. But you know what? He's just such a skilled, veteran, grizzled professional that I have no doubt in my mind that everything's going to be perfectly fine with my buddy Barry King. How's it going tonight, Barry? Are you kidding me?
I'm totally kidding. I'm on. Good body every evening. Yeah, hi.
Good to have you here. Years and years ago, I had a friend who, and people are going to think ill of me, but we like to tease him. He had a hearing aid, and he had some issues with hearing, and if we ever got upset with him, we would just start, as we were talking, going lower and lower and lower to the point where he's adjusting his hearing aid, and that wasn't nice, but he certainly was a great friend, and we had great times with him. And Carlos, forgive me, my friend. Well, but that's what that reminded me of when you did that.
If he was a good friend, he probably liked your sense of humor. That's all right.
I think we did giggle about it a time or two, but in retrospect, as I've matured a little bit, yeah.
Good. I'm happy to be here. Great that we're doing it again. I look forward to this every time we do it.
Me too. Alphabetically, let's see. Let's go over to Pat McCormick then. Pat?
Hey, that's right. M actually does come before P, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Pat McCormick. Either way, I mean, I'm just going with what I see on the screen. I see Barry, then I see Pat, and we got Bob to bring on, but it says Thrash Pondo on the screen. That's a T, so we'll get to him in a minute. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Doing much better now that I see both of you guys in the same room.
Oh, hey, buddy.
It's always
long time no see.
Yeah.
You guys been hanging out recently?
Totally.
Been over on Barry's station hanging out, Pat? I know you have your weekly gig over there, but
yeah.
We're audio pals. We hear each other a lot, but it's like being there. It really is.
No, it's great. It's great to be on the show with you, Barry, no matter what they say about you. And I just want to say that It's such an honor,
So glad.
especially since you're able to fill me in on all my awards and stuff that I didn't even know about. Last weekend I found out I won a Grammy. I didn't even know I had a Grammy.
I awarded
But I
you a
heard it
lot
on the
more
radio.
awards than you have.
How would it be to be so critically lauded you don't even know what awards you have?
It was a faux pas. It was a faux pas, but it was a compliment though. I gave him more awards than he has.
I'd like to thank the Academy for this Telly Grammy. This on my mantle.
We'll tell Dave right quick what happened. I'm talking about Pat on the air last Saturday. I'm like, yeah, Pat is great. He's the only friend we've got that's ever won a Grammy for his General Hospital thing. And I forgot that it was an Emmy. So I said, well, they sound alike. Grammy, Emmy, I mixed it up. So I gave him more awards than he got.
Yeah. But it was great.
Next, Pat? What's next?
I'm in touch with Alan, his partner, because Barry's doing the show. And I said, Alan, you got to fix this for me because I'm going to get hate mail, or people are going to say, "Oh, and what year was that Grammy?" I'm
going to say Oscar next week. He got an Oscar,
perfect.
Too.
Perfect.
Well deserved. And after that, a People's Choice Award. We've got all sorts of awards we're going to throw your way.
Exactly.
All right. With that, any further ado, and of course, we'll let these guys talk a little bit about their channels when we wrap things up tonight. We better bring on our friend Bob Ponce, a.k.a. Thrash Pondo. How are you tonight, Bob?
I'm doing fine, and Dave, you saved the best for last, obviously.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Bob.
So good to see all you guys again. I'm absolutely psyched to be here with you all.
Been a long time,
you're turning into our live stream champion, the guy that is, without a doubt, it seems like these days it's quite a rarity for me to not see a live stream from the night before. Or, what I do is I turn them on as I go to sleep. By the way, 6 out of 10 on your last trivia. That was a tough one. Those questions about Lost in Space, Star Trek, and Twilight Zone, which actors were, I missed both of those. I missed the Ralph Bakshi question. Anyway, it wasn't a great night for me with trivia, but 6 out of 10.
If you get 6 out of 10 on one of my trivia games, that's pretty good. It's funny. I actually tried to make them easier because people said, "Oh my God, your questions are too tough." For some reason, when I made it easier, they liked it even less.
Yeah,
it's almost like they enjoy something really challenging. So challenging, I provide.
You did the right thing. It seems to me like they got more challenging as you went on because you started with the obligatory Michael Gray, Billy Batson question. So.
Start with a fun one. Start out with something that sort of gets them all engaged, and then make
we should give out awards like Emmys or Grammys or Academy Awards or something like that.
I give out the grandma. Stephen King's the grandma.
I kind of like older women.
Okay.
All right. So one other thing, based on your live stream last night, there was the question someone asked about how Jim Nabors got away with saying Shazam on the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I just don't think they even bothered to ask. I'm sure it would. It's a copywritten phrase. Shazam came from the comic book and the serials and the TV show. No one was saying Shazam before that came around, but. I think at the time, too, I'm not sure if DC had even bought the character. They picked it up from a defunct publishing company called Fawcett Publications. And so it just might have been at that sweet spot where no one was really keeping an eye on what people were saying on TV. But, Gomer Pyle, man, and Shazam, they go hand in hand.
Well,
and Jim Nabors always made it a 3-syllable word. Shazam!
Shazam. I think it was his middle name, actually.
Yeah.
Because there was a check written out to him on one of the episodes that said Gomer S. Pyle on it.
Right.
I actually did an episode on that. And I was like,
wow.
What's the S for? Well, it's obvious, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Gomer Shazam Pyle. Uh-huh.
Well, we've got lots of folks in the live stream. It would just be so hard to acknowledge everybody that's here, but I'll acknowledge a few of the folks that showed up early that were here at the very beginning. And then as we go throughout the evening, we'll acknowledge other folks as we read their comments, that type of thing. But Danny Staten, my friend, our friend, I should say, from South Carolina is here, and he has been hanging out he was about an hour early, just hanging, waiting. Channel member Angela McCardle was here. Channel member Lance Chaffin showed up early. Channel member For My Sweetheart 369. Let's see, Chrominion was here early. Let's see who else. I see Tom the Hungry Jerk, or Tom McCluskey, aka the Hungry Jerk. Adrian James, Chrominion. I think I already said Chrominion. The Old Toy Guy. We're going to have fun tonight, the Old Toy Guy. I can't wait to hear some of the things you have to contribute. The Nostalgic Pod Blast. Mr. Led is here. Melissa Foster. Yes. Channel member Superplex is here. Channel member Emily Miller. And that takes us up to about 6:30 or 8:32 Eastern. Like I said, we're because I see Tugs here as well. Hey, the Unapologetic Geek, welcome. Good to have you here. It's going to be fun tonight. Barry, this was your idea. Talk to us a little bit more about what we're doing here tonight.
Well, I was doing a little hiking a couple of weekends ago, and deep in the woods, contemplating things. And I'm like, we haven't done about time to try to do another RetroPALooza with the retro crew. And I'm thinking, what have we not done? What could we do? And I started going through some old boxes that I had of Bubblegum cards collections that I had. I didn't have a lot because, let's face it, everybody goes, yeah, I had all those cards. I'm like, well, I didn't have all of hardly any of them, but I do remember a lot of the other ones that friends of mine I had. But I thought, what if we put together something called Bubblegum cards, Lunchboxes, and toys? Oh my, and that encompasses a lot that we can talk about because we all had them growing up. We're from that era where we had to wait 2 years when a new movie came out. We all come from that era where we didn't have instant communication with cell phones and stuff. We had to wind up letting our parents know where we're going to be. There, he's got some right there.
Dave started show and tell early. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I saw that. Toys too.
I mean, we're at that point.
I love that you were reminiscing about hanging out with us while you were on a hike. That's what I love.
Yeah, I'm a lonely guy.
Were you out there with Mrs. BK, or were you just out there on your own?
She's back in school. She's a school teacher now. She's going for her master's degree in college, so she's got double school duty. So I'm all alone.
Oh, man.
I have nothing to do.
Oh my goodness!
So I was deep in thought.
Holy cow! Okay.
So that's how this all came to pass.
Well, thank heavens for hikes and having deep thoughts, Barry.
And loneliness. Yeah,
and loneliness.
And little girls. But wait a minute.
Well, yeah, okay, sure.
I digress.
Big ones too.
It's like
Thank heaven for little girl. Sorry.
I knew that.
Chevalier moment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do we want to start? Maybe I have some favorite memories. We should start with Bubblegum cards. That's what we kind of led with. I have some favorite memories. I started flashing a handful of Bubblegum cards I have. But maybe is there anyone that would like to volunteer and share some memories, what they collected? Pat McCormick. Pat, would you like to maybe talk to us a little bit about did you collect any of these cards growing up?
Boy, that's not alphabetical order at all.
No.
Mid-deck.
Let's put them on the spot. I guess the rage of my age was sports baseball cards. They were baseball cards for baseball players. And it's a pretty serious thing to collect. The people have some very expensive cards in that sports genre. But I didn't really get into sports until I was older. So, for me, it was always the great TV shows, the classic shows. And when I became a Star Trek fan, I thought, what? I think I'll get into the collecting too. And I really got serious for a while. I've got some pretty fun items. Matter of fact, since we started show and tell, right? Okay. Let's see if we can see this. There's my signed William Shatner.
Nice.
Okay. Here's my signed Leonard Nimoy.
Hang on a second, Pat. We gotta put you on full screen for all this.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Let's see if I can get the glare out of it. There's my Leonard Nimoy. and you can see that's starting to fade, which is a little bit of a bummer. But you can't have everything. Walter Koenig, on the other hand, is sharp as could be. But my prized one is this one, William Campbell. And again, can't really see that. The light's kind of messing with it, but you can see the autograph there. And yeah, getting Trelane was a big deal for me.
Wow.
Then, of course, I went on to my Outer Limits cards.
Oh,
And I love these because I love the monsters of the or what they call the bears of the show.
Wow. Nice.
And so that's showing off my lovely Outer Limits. It's great because they put some real effort into the artwork on these, and whereas opposed to the Star Trek ones, that's the characters. So I collected a lot of other items, figurines, the coffee cups, the dioramas, is that what they call them? Where they're actually modeled scenes of the show. Some of them are really valuable. But of course, they're just sitting on a shelf under the house. It's like, soon as one of those kids moves out, which will probably be never, I will. I'll turn some display. I'll get it out there and let people actually enjoy this stuff. But I had the plates. I had just everything I could get my hands on that was cool. And yeah, so that's kind of where it went for me.
That's awesome.
Those Outer Limits cards are beautiful, Pat, because we're always used to seeing the Outer Limits in black and white, and those are colored. That's really nice art. It's nice seeing them that way.
Yeah, and I think those are a collector's item because I got them 40 years ago. So it's like that says something, doesn't it?
Bravo. Nice.
I just wish I'd had the foresight to hang on to all the cards I'd collected. I mean, from about 89 on, I hung on to everything, but prior to that, a lot of it got thrown away by mom or even discarded by myself. Okay, before we keep going, I did get a super chat I want to acknowledge, and it's from our friend Larry Potter. Let me put that on the screen if I can. Hang on one second here. Let's see what Larry said. Simply said, I am here. Well, Larry, we are tickled that you are here this evening, hanging out with us, talking about all things retro. You know what? I typically show a video as a way to say thank you, but I actually have been experimenting a little bit with music. Let me see if I can bring on a singer to serenade you, Larry, as a thank you for that super chat. Let's go with this one here.
Thank you for the super chat. The super chat. It was so nice that you did that. Thank you for the super chat.
Wow.
Thanks, Larry. That was awesome.
Keep going.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Oh.
Bob.
Howdy.
Talk to us a little bit about what you collected card-wise growing up.
I will. In fact, I got to say, sports has always been my Achilles heel from when I was a young kid to this very day. But I must say, and based on the opening sequence of tonight's show, you felt very similar. I fell in love with Wacky Packs cards when I was, I don't know, about 5 or 6. They were absolutely amazing to me. They had just come out. I think I got my first handful from my cousins. One of my cousins who collected them, and I was hooked. And every now and then my mom would buy me a pack or two, my grandma would buy me a pack or two, and I would hoard them with bated breath. I never traded them. If I had duplicates, I would have 2 of it. I have a spare, a backup, as it were. And just always loved them. But the beautiful thing, the coolest thing about the Wacky Packs is, skip ahead, I don't know, about 40 some odd years. And my granddaughter fell in love with them. And whenever we would hit a Target or someplace that had them, she would find them, and I'd of course, I'd buy the store out, and we would actually go home and tear the packs open and go through and collect out the good ones. And she'd take the ones that she wanted, and she'd give me the ones that she thought I would like more. So it became this sort of cross-generational thing, which really, really, really meant a lot to me.
That is very cool. My problem with Wacky Packages was they were stickers. So
Yes.
I was sticking them on binders and books, and I was putting them to use. And of course, that means I don't have any anymore, but they were plastered all over things growing up, which was those things were that, along with Mad Magazine. That's where I really kind of, was introduced to that kind of humor, the sarcastic humor. What's the term I'm trying to think of? What
Parody.
Parody. That's
Parody.
the term I want. Parody humor was Wacky Packages was one of the gateway drugs to that.
It certainly was. It certainly was.
How about you, Barry? What were you collecting back in the day?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I was never into sports. I never played sports, never got sports, never got into sports, never watched sports. My favorite sport was when they were picking people for the team in elementary school and junior high school. I would run away from the picking. I didn't want to be picked because I couldn't play anything. So I didn't get the sports cards, but thank goodness that companies like Donruss and Fleer and Topps, not only did they go into the sports realm, they went into movies and television, and that's the cards that I collected. I think the first Topps cards that I ever purchased from a store, eagerly spending my hard dough that was given to me as an allowance. 1976, the first, not the first Star Trek cards, but it was the 1976 run of the Star Trek cards of the original series came out. And I couldn't wait because we all know what it's like to rip open that pack of bubblegum cards, get that horrible, tasteless piece of bubblegum and stick it in your mouth and chew it, whatever it is. And it doesn't last but about 12 seconds and then it's gone and you spit it out. But you still chew it because it's there. But the Star Trek cards is what I started with. And then I moved on, to what was the gold standard that started it all really after that for me was the Star Wars cards. Star Wars came along and wow, how much stuff came out from Star Wars. Not a lot in 77. None of the toys were available in 77. They didn't come out to the next year. Then you got a voucher to get toys, I think, in 77. But when I started getting the Star Wars cards, that was it. I would buy them at packs and packs until I had them all. And then you had different color runs, like the blue ones. Then you went to the red ones and the yellow ones, and they all had different runs. And later on, I was able to pick up Donruss did a wonderful run of Space 1999 cards, bubblegum cards and packs, which was fantastic. And I was able to get all of those. But later on, it wasn't. I mean, I know later on when cards would come out, you're like, well, if you buy the whole box of cards, you're guaranteed to get a complete set with a lot of duplicates. I'm like, well, that's fun when you're an adult, but where was the fun in that? You bought them and that was it. So the fun was spending the money, paying your quarter or 10 cents or however much they happen to be, and trading with your friends. Oh, I have 5 of those. I don't need that, but I need a Mr. Spock. Do you have a Spock card? I don't have this one. And then you'd get that. Then in 1980, I moved on to The Empire Strikes Back from Topps. Fantastic card run from that. And then someone in a lot of people in the chats are bringing up cards that they collected. I see a lot of people talking about Return of the Jedi, and some of the other Star Wars cards are there. Then I went on to Return of the Jedi in 1983. Now I was a senior in high school in 84. That's when I graduated. And that's when I kind of stopped buying bubblegum cards. I was getting older. So I think Return of the Jedi were the last ones that I bought. Now, later on as an adult, I picked up some newer cards and filled in here and there and this and that. But I can say with complete certainty right now, and I love it, that I have a complete run of the Star Wars Topps cards in a plastic holder book, and I have all of the Space 1999 cards as well. That's the only complete collections that I still have, and we'll never part with them until someone gives them away after I die. It'll be in my will. Somebody will get it. We'll talk off the air when you guys are interested. So that was me and bubblegum cards, sport, television, and movies. I loved all of those.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I remember the first run of Star Wars cards, and I was buying them pretty furiously whenever my allowance would allow as well. And it seemed like I was always getting those dang droids. Not that I didn't love, the droids, but I wanted the good cards, the Darth Vaders, the Obi-Wan Kenobis, the Luke Skywalker cards.
Right.
And
you didn't need 5 copies of the C-3PO and the R2 card. Yeah, you didn't need
that
several.
C-3PO card, curse it all. I had so many of those. And thank heavens that we actually did trade them, right?
Yeah.
And with friends, but not many of them wanted that C-3PO card. That was
But it was the excitement of grabbing the pack and opening it and wondering which ones, am I going to get the ones I want? There was an excitement to that. It was wonderful. It was great.
And let me just go on the record as stating earlier, was it you, Barry, that slandered the gum? Were you the gum slanderer?
Yes, I did. I
love that hard, pink, dusty, whatever's on top of that gum.
Compared
Let's have him prove it.
But I was comparing it to I was comparing it to Bubblicious and Bubblegum and all those other wonderful bubblegums, the gold standards of gum out there,
Yeah. Definitely different, but it had its own taste, right? And Pat, yes, I do have one. This was a gift from my friend Pat McCormack right here. This is, and if I just can't bring myself to open it up, but the gum's right here. Sadly, it is in a couple pieces. I can feel that.
Don't do it. He's trying to poison you. Don't do that.
I would be tempted. I love that gum so much, but I can't.
I'd like to know what the cards are because I'm never going to know that. But that's actually from 1977.
Pat still needs the V'ger card. That's why he's asking. He needs the V'ger card that's in there.
Man, I'm tempted to open it up right here. See what we have.
That's an original pack from 77.
I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it.
We'll have to put it in a time capsule and hope for the best.
Be buried with it.
Let's do this. I've got a little video with just a slideshow of all sorts of different cards. While we're doing that, let me put up this question. And I'm sure there's been lots of folks talking about it already, but we've been talking, we haven't been paying that much attention to the chat. So right now, go ahead and tell us what your favorite Bubblegum card series was. I didn't share mine. I should have. It's the Batman 89 series. I've got the complete collection as well. There's Vicky. Just loved them, and just great stuff. The images in there, and I love that first Batman movie with Mike.
For me, it's Star Wars. For me, the first Star Wars Blue series, the Star Wars cards were great.
I didn't get the complete run. My younger brother Steve has the complete run of that first series of Star Wars cards. But I had a good portion of them that I think he may have swiped and added to make his collection. I don't want to accuse him of anything, but anyway. But yes. But let me go ahead and play the slideshow. Folks can tell us what their favorite Bubblegum card series is, and then we'll read some of those comments in just a minute. So let's do that. And then I want to share one other thing that I love that not quite well. Maybe we'll save it for the and more section at the end. Okay, let me find that video, that slideshow. Here we go.
Pat, can I just say that was a great montage, and the packs of those cards were pop art in themselves. They're
Totally.
fantastic art covers on those packs.
That's
They
the
really
coolest thing
are,
I've
aren't
ever
they?
seen.
Yeah.
That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
It was amazing. That was really cool.
All right. Some comments we got during that. We had the Nostalgic Pod Blast who shared a little bit of trivia. I didn't know this. The Cantina monsters were not shown in the Star Wars cards until Series 5 because Lucas didn't want people to see all the different creatures in the cantina looked like.
That's true. And a lot of the later cards of the Star Wars cards, like the Orange series and stuff, they were running out of photos to show. So they started showing a lot of behind the scenes production shots and stuff. They started changing it up a lot. Yeah, too.
Very cool. Channel member Emily Miller says she collected Star Wars cards. Tug was a Garbage Pail Kids guy.
I got some of those.
They really are they feel like the follow-up, the stepchild to what?
Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Oh yeah.
Barry's giving signals. We have to steal the next base. Okay.
The old toy guy, or that old toy guy, said Star Wars. Thelma Noller said Star Wars. The Nostalgic Pod Blast said Star Wars were the favorites. So clearly, the Star Wars cards were they made their mark, right? Tom, the Hungry Jerk, said Wacky Packages. That doesn't surprise me because as we were watching the Wacky Packages slideshow before the live stream started, did anyone notice there was a Hungry Jerk Wacky Package? I had never realized that's probably where Tom got his name.
It is. Tom and I have talked about that.
But of
It
course.
is.
Very cool. Wajamin says, Garbage Pail Kids. Channel member for my sweetheart 369 says Star Wars. Channel member Superplex says Batman, but not the movie. The original TV series trading cards. Get Lost says Wacky Packages and Star Wars. Keith E, channel member Keith E, says Soupy Cells. I did not realize Soupy Cells had his own trading cards.
I did not know.
Channel member Angela McArdle says the A-Team cards, Garbage Pail Kids, and Star Wars. David Rasmussen says baseball cards with gums. Another gum fan. Adrian James says Superman the movie. This one I'm surprised with. We're just hearing about it now. The classic Mars Attacks are Tug's favorites.
Wow.
Yeah, great. I mean, it was an original art, right? That that Topps commissioned for that particular series. Very cool. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says the Topps one, there was an Olympic athletes one. I remember that one as well. Yep. In the 90s, I think, on that one. John H. says Soupy Cells as well. Thelma Noller adds Charlie's Angels. And then Luke Trekker says, I collected almost a full run of the Marvel cards from 90 or 91. Channel member Dominic D says baseball, football, and Dukes of Hazzard cards. And let's see. Gary Carpenter has several Batman movie cards. And Gary Carpenter also has several Batman 1966 cards. Those are classics.
I had an aunt that collected a lot of Elvis Presley cards. I'm not sure the company that did them, but there were Bubblegum pack cards for Elvis Presley as well.
It was in the slideshow. I think it was Don Roos.
Okay, it was Don Roos. Okay,
Don Roos, yep.
There you go.
If it wasn't Topps, most of those non-sports cards were Don Roos or Don Russ or however you pronounce that. All right. Hey, I wanted to share one other thing before we move on to Lunchboxes, which is really my entry into the whole collecting of cards with gum thing wasn't cards. It was tattoos. I don't know if you guys all remember this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When I was a little kid, I was probably like five-ish. These were on the market. Let me show you what these are. They were Justice League tattoos, and they were a penny, and they were just a little block of gum. And inside that little block of gum, kind of like bazooka size. You guys all remember that size? Where you get these tattoos. And
lick 'em and stick 'em.
Lick 'em and stick 'em.
Lick 'em and stick 'em.
Again, the problem is every tattoo I got. I didn't have the foresight as a 5-year-old, nor would I have had it as a 12-year-old to save them. They went right on the arm, every single one of those tattoos. I so wish I had those, but oh well. Oh well.
I remember those well.
Fellers, anything else we want to talk about when it comes to trading cards and the ilk from yes, Bob.
Does any of you guys, or even in the comment section, there were a very short-lived line of comics, I want to say around 75-ish, and they were the original Universal Monsters. And the cards were scenes from the Universal Monster movies, but they would have funny captions at the bottom, like, "Don't walk on the grass," or "Grandma, did you fall in the swimming pool?" And I thought they were hysterical, but they had a very limited run. To the point where it does sound good, because for years I thought I imagined them. So
I know they did. Marvel did that with a lot of the heroes. They'd have Captain America kind of running, and he'd say, "Look, Ma, no cavities." He's like running and smiling, and Spider-Man would say something funny. They did those with the heroes too. It might have been the same people that did that, but yeah, that monster one sounds very familiar.
Excellent.
Yeah, I seem to remember those, Bob. I'm pretty sure you're not making those up. That feels like a thing. As a matter of fact, as I was scouring eBay, I'm pretty sure I saw someone selling one still completely in a wax pack, completely sealed. So they're out there.
How much, Dave? What were they?
You know what? It's interesting. If you want to buy something like this, right? My Andy Griffith Show cards. These came out in the 90s, I think. But even the 80s ones, you can pick them up for like $5 a pack. They're not, as you get into the older, like this one, they have a little more value to them. And then the stuff in the 60s, if you can get them sealed, well, you're paying a pretty penny for those now. You're in the hundreds of dollars. That Batman 66, there were 2 Batman Tops runs. The first one was like original paintings like Mars Attacks. And then there was a TV series one that followed a year later. But that original paintings one, and they reissued that in the 90s, but so a lot of people think those are originals and they're not. But that original run of those paintings, the Batman that came out right as the TV show was in full high gear, Batmania was everywhere. Those in sealed packages are in the thousands of dollars.
And just to tell you guys the popularity of the Star Wars cards when they came out, that blue border with the red blurb that said Star Wars in the corner and the stars border around it. They came out with I think it was some of the prequels came out with cards that had that exact same look to them. Now the prequel films, to me, they're not as good as the originals, but they emulated the cards perfectly, and I think it was a big success for them doing that. And it looked just like the old Star Wars card. So there's another throwback for you, even for the newer
Very
films.
cool. Very cool. I noticed that, speaking of those Star Wars cards, there's actually on Amazon, someone has taken the time to collect all those cards and put them in a book format. So, kind of blown up, showing the front side and the back side of every single card of the first series. I don't think they've gone on to do series 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nice.
There's probably some licensing issues there, but pretty cool. Pretty cool.
That is nice.
All right, let's move on to lunchboxes. Lunchboxes for me were, I don't know about you guys, but it was a source of consternation between me and my parents, because I would they'd start the year and they'd want me to take school lunch, and I'd say okay. And then I'd go to school and I'd see my friends have these really cool lunch boxes, and I would immediately want one of those really cool lunch boxes. And what would happen is I'd get the lunch box and I'd take it to school for a couple of weeks, and then I'd be ready to go back to school lunch. I really liked school lunch a lot. But I'd be interested what kind of memories you guys have, and if you have favorite lunch boxes. And let's start with Bob.
Excellent. I got to say, my mother always made sure I was equipped with a new lunchbox for 2 reasons. She always thought there was a psychological advantage to decking the kid out so he's actually psyched to go back to school with his new equipment. And she may have actually had something there. Plus, believe it or not, I was a notoriously picky eater when I was a kid. So school lunches were not always an option for me. So it was always best for me to take my own bologna sandwich and jar of applesauce and vegetable soup in the thermos and sort of just eat like my own kit, shall we say. Now, the funny thing is, you want to laugh at this? You know what my first lunchbox was when I was a kid? Bear in mind, my mother was something of a hippie. It was a Jonathan Livingston Seagull lunchbox, and it was metal. And I loved it. I actually kept it for years. Even when I stopped bringing it to school, I still just sort of kept it as a briefcase almost. I think my grandmother stockpiled it for me for years and then finally threw it away after my grandfather died when I was in high school. But I had that thing for years. But as far as favorite lunchboxes go, I had a Peanuts lunchbox, which was plastic and with school bus yellow. I, of course, loved my Land of the Lost lunchbox. But I think my all-time favorite lunchbox was my Conjunction Junction, that Schoolhouse Rock lunchbox.
Yeah.
Yes, which I got for 4th or 5th grade, and that was the one that I really, really loved. And when I was done with that, that's about the time I was done with school lunch, with one exception. When I was getting ready to go off to college, so this was the summer of '86. I was kind of going through my cami phase. There was a really cool Army Navy store in my area, and I used to buy old Army Navy clothes, and I had the camis, and I had the olive drab, and a lot of people said that I was doing the Rambo look. I worked nights at a local supermarket. It was Angelo's Supermarket. It's still here. It's called Shaw's now. But I used to work there, and I developed a rapport with a lot of the folks that worked there, a lot of whom were actually World War II veterans, who I thought were great. And on my last night, they got me a present. It was a Rambo lunchbox. And of course, I'm like getting ready to go off to college now, but I treasured that. I'm like, because I thought it was like so, because they'd kind of been like good natured, like ribbing me, also not being Rambo, but then they actually were nice enough to go out and buy me a present and had it be this sort of moniker they had bestowed me with, and I can't tell you how much that meant to me.
Wow.
That
Rambo's
is very cool.
I would have taken that to college.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I did. I used it as a pencil box.
Perfect.
Very cool. Very cool. How about you, Barry?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Thrash, I think there was a controversy when the Rambo lunchbox came out because Rambo was rated R. It was a rated R movie when it came out, and a kid's lunchbox with John Rambo from with Sylvester Stallone on it. They're like, wait, what's going on here? That's like the Alien toy that Mattel made from Alien in 1979. I'm like, well, kids can't even see the movie, would buy the toy. That's odd, but I remember that. I think parents didn't like that. Lunchboxes, much like trading cards. You know, your friends would have the cards that you wanted, and they had maybe had the ones you had the ones they wanted. You always wanted what they had. I was constantly breaking a commandment. I always coveted thy fellow student's lunchbox. Always. I started out in the first grade in 19 or somewhere, and I had a Woody Woodpecker lunchbox. That was my first lunchbox, was Woody Woodpecker. I was a 6-year-old kid in the first grade, 5-year-old. So that's the one I had, but I didn't have a lot. I only had 3 different lunchboxes. A lot of people, I'll run into guys and girls and ladies and men, they'll talk and they're like, oh, they'd name off 20 lunchboxes they had. And I'm like, I don't think you had 20. I think you remember 20 of them, but you probably only had just a few, like me. So, because I thought I had more than I did. But I started out with Woody Woodpecker. Then I went on to, I had one called the Spirit of 76. It was during the bicentennial, and it had a little caricatures of the Boston Tea Party on one side, and it had a little caricature on the other side of a little kid shining and sprucing up George Washington when he's sitting in a chair, and it had little outlines of other things and art. You know how the lunchbox have art on the outer parts as well. And please answer me this. Why did lunchbox companies, be either Aladdin or Thermos, those are the 2 big companies that put them out early, and they started in the early 1900s, believe it or not, with just regular lunch pail receptacles. They both did. And then they morphed into what they became. Why did they think it was a good idea to line kids' lunchbox thermoses with glass interior to keep them warm or cold? Because those got broken about the second day you had one. You'd drop the thermos, you'd hear the noise. Now it wouldn't come out of it, but you could shake it and hear the glass shaking around on the inside. That never lasted long. So now it's really interesting when you get a lunchbox. If you're a collector and you get one with an intact thermos that's not broken, that's a big pricey item to get. So I went on to Spirit of 76, but my last lunchbox I had toward the 4th and 5th grade in school before I went on to bigger and older things in junior high and 6th grade. You don't take a 10 lunchbox to the 6th grade where I went to school, or you'd probably get beat up before you went home. You could use the lunchbox as a weapon though, because they were made out of metal. But my last one was Space 1999. That's the last I wanted that one really bad. And that's the one that I would sit around with other guys and girls at the lunch table, and they're like, "Oh, you've got a Space 1999 lunchbox." I'm like, "Yeah, but you've got an Atom 12, and you've got an Emergency, and you've got $6 Million Man." So we all wanted each other's lunchbox, but we didn't want to give ours up. So it was a fun thing to have and show off your fandom with your lunchbox, because it said a lot about you as a kid, and that's what I liked about it.
For sure. And definitely, I was right there with you, coveting the others' kids' lunch boxes. As soon as I got one, I'd see one I wanted more.
Yeah.
Pat, what's your story? Were you a lunchbox guy?
I still happen to have my original lunchbox. Yes. That's the Twilight Zone with Shatner. And then it gets sideways with all this glare. But then it gets even better because it's a two-face.
Wow. I have a special ability to see Shatner's face through glare, so it's okay. I can always recognize it.
Good. And the one thing is that's funny is I haven't opened this, I don't think, since I owned it. Which, oh man, look at that.
I'm coveting.
What you got is the Twilight Zone, William Shatner, Terror at 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Jim.
Very nice.
He's dead.
I am.
You had a
Green dancing girl with envy.
You had a TJ Hooker in there to be perfect.
Item, not an original thermos one. Who produced that, Pat? You know what
Yeah, that's a
company
good
did
question.
that? That's cool.
That is amazing. Love it.
China.
China did.
Oh,
too.
wow. Yeah. China.
People want to know. Channel member Superplex is asking right now, where did Pat get that? Where in the world? Where did you get it, Pat?
It was a gift.
It was a gift.
So I don't know.
From William Shatner.
Bill Banger PW.
Pat, accept this lunchbox from me.
Yes.
Treasure it always.
If it had a TJ Hooker in there, it would be perfect. Yeah, you're right.
But you know, I had all the ones that you guys had for sure. The problem with me being so much older than all you guys is I kind of don't even remember which ones I had.
You're not that much older.
Well, what I did remember was when I was in grade school, they came out with these thermoses made specifically for soup. So now, lo and behold, the new cool thing is you can pack soup for your kids' lunch. And so mine was always, my mom, I always liked split pea soup. That was my favorite. So Mom, I want that Exorcist lunch pail right there. And that way, but I didn't get it. And you know there was one.
That's priceless. That's priceless.
But you said Land of the Lost. Yeah, the Land of the Lost. And Dave, you and I were at the
we were there at CroftCon. Yep.
And Wes and Kathy had a Land of the Lost lunch pail that they had signed that
Philip.
Chewbacca. Yes.
Philip Paley.
Thank you, Philip. Philip signed. And it just so happened that the Croft brothers were there too. So they had them sign it. And there was a couple of other actors there that were on the show. Everybody signed it. And they just kind of put it up for sale. And a guy walked up and paid him $13,000 for it.
Wow.
I think that's right. I think that's the right number. We talked about it on a couple of the interviews that I did with him about that special moment. It's like, and it had the thermos. The thermos was intact. So
could I ask a Land of the Lost question? You guys went to that, and he may not have been there, but is Spencer Mulligan still with us?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah,
because I knew he'd gone a few times.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
he's here.
okay.
I mean,
He's older.
Right.
He retired a few years back. He had been teaching acting back east. And I know that Kathy and Wes and Philip have all traveled out to visit with him, and they still connect with him from time to time. But he is, I mean, he's in his late 80s or mid 80s, somewhere around there. So he's getting older.
Right. Okay.
they stay in touch though.
Yep,
Good.
for sure. Yep. For me, I remember my lunchbox as well. I have replicas. I should grab it. This was my first lunchbox right here. This is a replica.
I had that one.
It's Peanuts one.
I did. Oh my God, I'm so old. I'm so old.
This is my latest replica lunchbox, and I'm loving it. I'm loving my Green Hornet lunchbox. But I never owned a Green Hornet lunchbox. My the other ones I owned, I did own a Land of the Lost. That was the last one I owned.
Wow.
And in between Peanuts and Land of the Lost, do you guys remember a show called UFO? It was kind of a precursor to Space 1999, Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson, yes. Very good show.
There was a UFO lunchbox that was very, very cool.
That's one I would have coveted.
Probably very, very, very colorful. You might add too.
Yeah.
They were big on the hypercolor on that show.
Oh, fantastic.
Anyway, lunchboxes were great. I just wish I'd had more of a commitment to use them day in, day out. Maybe my parents would have bought me more. But to your point earlier, I think maybe there was a point around the 4th grade where you just stopped owning lunchboxes for fear of some sort of social retribution if you were to haul one in later on. Now it's cool. Now we could take those into work and everybody would say, wow, what a cool nerdy feller that guy is.
Plus at my school, my lunches, I don't know what kind of school you guys had lunch food wise, but I grew up in an area where our lunch food was fantastic. It was great. We had pizza and the chicken and sandwiches and stuff. I mean, it was fantastic. So I didn't mind eating lunch in the lunchroom.
And the desserts back then were really good, like the peanut butter bars and stuff. I mean, that's where they got me. I could skip the things, but seeing the kids eat the dessert, that's really where I'm like, maybe I want school lunch.
Yeah.
Boy,
I'll just take the lunchbox to school and it'll be empty, but I'll just carry it. Just eat the school food.
Us kids were hungry too, especially when you smelled the hot lunch. It was like, well, that's what I'd rather be having than this bologna and cheese. God, Mom, put some effort into it every now and then, please.
Plain old peanut butter and jelly always made me happy.
I love my bologna and cheese.
Eat them today.
Do I still eat bologna and cheese?
Like 3 weeks in a row, Bob, I'm telling you. Come on.
No, right, fine. Not 3 weeks in a row, no.
I think
peanut butter and fluff.
Pat, you and I might have had similar mothers because my mom, she was just slapping crap together, and she would put butter on the inside of my bologna sandwich, or peanut butter and jelly. She'd put butter in there. We did have
the same mother. Oh my God.
Who does that?
My mom.
Yeah, my mom as well. My mom as well. All right, here. I've got another slideshow. I'm going to ask folks the same question. I started some that I saw, but let's do what was your favorite lunchbox? So I'll start kind of keeping an eye on some of the comments there. We'll watch the slideshow. We'll come back, do just a little bit of more stuff, and play a little trivia. But we have hit the hour mark, and we're just getting started. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break while we watch this slideshow, and then, folks, we'll be back for more fun conversation with my RetroPALooza buddies here. All right, let me find it. There it is.
Just seeing that Evel Knievel box just sends a nostalgic chill up my
awesome,
spine. I
isn't
love
it?
that. It's just
Yeah.
great.
There was a picture of a vinyl one too. You remember the vinyl ones that snapped closed? I saw
Oh, yeah.
that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have one of those too.
Oh,
Talk
my
about
God,
more artwork. That artwork was usually, in the 80s, late 80s, they got into just stamping Photoshop pictures on things and stickers. But those 99% of those metal lunchboxes were all original artwork, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, very cool. Channel member Sean Innes says he had the Banana Splits lunchbox, Lion Slot Link, Planet of the Apes. A few months ago, we bought a They Live lunchbox. I need to track that one down as well. That would be awesome. Tug had a Freddy Krueger lunchbox, and then a friend swiped it from him. Gary Carpenter had the Peanuts lunchbox. Let's see. Channel member Dominic D says Lost in Space had a cool lunchbox.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see. Oh, here's a comment from the nostalgic Podblast who says, I bet Thrash was popular in grade school. Wow, a great variety of boxes. Did the lunchboxes get you extra popularity, Thrash?
I would say no.
Did you send Chance a check there or something? What happened?
There was always some kid with an even cooler lunchbox. In fact, a very good friend of mine, a kid by the name of Trip Wyckoff, his parents spoiled him horribly. I mean, literally horribly. And it seemed no matter what I brought to school to be cool, he somehow managed to outdo me.
Trip Wyckoff!
I'll get you yet.
There's a joke in your name.
That's a cool name.
Well, it was a very cool name. The problem was he was a friend of mine, so I couldn't even hold it against him. So I used to hope that when he
like a news anchor.
Yeah, it's Trip Wyckoff.
Our friend Ms. Elizabeth had a Scooby-Doo lunchbox, a Partridge Family one, and a Holly Hobby one, and then she was too darn grown up. Channel member For My Sweetheart had a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox. And does anybody remember a Bicentennial lunchbox? I don't remember that, but Gary Carpenter had one.
I didn't have I had the Spirit of 76, but there was a 1776 as well, I think, but I had a different one. Yeah.
Okay. Carl Smith had the Starsky and Hutch lunchbox. I do remember the Marvel Comics one that Nostalgic Podblast is talking about. Melissa Foster had Strawberry Shortcake, and then did a little trade and ended up with someone else's lunchbox. Let's see. Tug says, I'm still not too old for lunchboxes. Neither am I, my friend. And his wife takes a Grogu lunchbox to work every day. Wow, what a cool wife, huh? Mm-hmm. Channel member Angela McArdle says, Holly Hobby in grade school. And I remember these sport ones. Wajamin had one that was Washington Redskins. I remember that. Channel member Angela McArdle, Holly Hobby. Dave Rasmussen says Cabbage Patch Kids, and also had Predator. And you would take them both at the same time to school and let them just kind of see what happened.
Pair it up with your Aliens lunchbox.
Nice. Yeah.
Let's see. Emily Miller says, Angela, I have a Holly Hobby Christmas glass. Okay. Sakina McMurrin says favorite lunchbox was the Partridge Family. Yep. I remember that one. Music Girl 67 says sister had Strawberry Shortcake and she had Holly Hobby. The old toy guy, says that the Rambo was the last metal lunchbox for a long time.
That old toy guy, that's Mike Clark. That's my buddy. Welcome to the chat, Mike.
Very cool.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike, good to have you here. Thanks for sharing your expertise.
Commander Clark.
Commander Clark, that's his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome. DOAV 2.1 had the Fantastic Four lunchbox as well as the Scooby lunchbox. Tug's dad had a Forbidden Planet lunchbox, so that's got to be back in the 50s. Let's see.
But did it promote Rust?
Yeah. Baked Bean, Woody Woodpecker. I was trying to decipher what Baked Bean's saying here, but this has to be about the Woody Woodpecker lunchbox.
That's the one. That was my first one. Very first one.
Yeah.
Thank
And Doll Quick had an aunt who had a Bugaloo's lunchbox. I do remember the Bugaloo's lunchbox. I think it was in the slideshow. David Rasmussen's sister had Rainbow Brides. Kaylee Cat had Holly Hobby. And then Sean Innes talks about exactly what you were talking about with the glass breaking. I don't remember that happening. Maybe I was just more careful with my thermoses.
Before you pour, you'd have to shake it to see if you heard broken glass.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear the remember when you ran away.
Terrible then. You had no
Didn't
cold
take
or warm
anything.
drinks anymore.
Yeah.
Didn't take
Robert
anything.
Kim says Adam's Family, Mary Poppins, Peanuts, one every year.
Ooh, one every
How
year.
lucky is that?
That's nice.
And guess what? My mouse has decided to quit working on me. It's one of these wireless mice. Let's see if I can get it to. Nope.
Did the cat attack?
So no more comments. And Auburn Kim, you're going to be on there until it decides to.
Dave, there's another pal of mine in the chat named Brian Rickerson. He's from a great podcast called the Classic Movie Misfits, where they review movies off the AFI Top 100. He puts that he had Welcome Back, Kotter, and a great Star Trek the Motion Picture lunchbox. That I remember the Kotter one, and the Star Trek the Motion Picture was another coveted one that I wanted very badly and did not get. So yeah,
Very cool. You said his name's Brian?
Brian Rickerson. Yep.
Brian, good to
He's in
have
our
you
chat.
with us. I wish I could put your comment on the screen, but right now we're having some technical difficulties.
I keep an extra AA battery at my desk for just such an emergency.
Yeah.
Here, Dave. Here,
Just
take
send
this.
it
Can you
over.
hand that to me? Come on, send it
Send it
over
up to him. Give it to him.
Come on,
Just
you're
chuck
gonna
it.
write
Just
next
chuck
door.
it. Throw it. Throw it.
It was a nice thought.
Throw it. I'll catch it.
Chuck
You
it.
got, if that works, I'm leaving this place because that's witchcraft. I don't want anything to do with that.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you guys talk for a minute.
Mhm.
Why don't we move on to the and more things? Why don't you guys share your and more? And I'm going to go get me another AA battery, and I will be right back. So you guys just have at it. Do what you do, and
After these
I'll be back.
messages.
Are we doing the Gilligan's Island and the rest? And the rest.
and
And
the
the
rest.
rest.
Yeah.
Well-
what is and more? And more means other things that we collected.
Yeah, other cool things that were just cool things for like kids of our time frame. Would
I-
you like me to start? Because I got a good one.
I just like to throw out a quick one because I
You
don't want to get.
first.
If I got into the Star Wars toys and stuff like that, that's a whole nother 2-hour show. But I
Easy.
had a lot of those. But
I'm not leaving.
when I was in, I don't know whether you guys had it, but when I was in school, I had. Now Pat's gone. We're
I'm not leaving.
Down to the gruesome twosome.
I just
Don't
thought
leave
I'd
Thrash
show
and I
you this.
together here because that's dangerous. We'll start and we'll go on for another 2 hours.
This is my
what's that?
Scooby Doo phone.
Spare glasses for this one.
It actually does plug in.
Oh my
Scooby-Doo
gosh.
phone.
That's
Yeah.
awesome sauce.
I don't have any stuff here. I'm in a room.
And when
all
it
by myself.
rings, Scooby shakes, and you hear the scary voice go, phone call.
Did you?
Which I don't have batteries in it because Dave took all the batteries.
He doesn't even have any.
Yeah, I got one of these, and I have a Star Trek phone too, the actual Enterprise. And the
Oh,
ring
I
is
remember that one. Yeah,
the
saucer
ring is
section
red alert.
comes off. Yeah, right. That's great.
I got
Yeah.
this really cool teeny radio that actually works.
The fact
Yes.
that okay, Thrash, you got the teeny radio. Do you guys remember in school? I don't know if you had them, but we had little pencil sharpeners that were about this big, and they looked like televisions. And you could turn them like this, and there would be little 3D animated pictures on them in the pencil sharpeners. I loved those things.
Yes.
You guys remember that?
Oh yeah,
Sure.
they'd have like a little skeleton dancing
Yeah, or a little guy in a
yeah.
rowboat or something.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
those.
I love that stuff.
This
Now
is a Yoda pencil sharpener with candy in it. It's got those little beads of candy that like remember that contact?
Right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, little beads of candy that are long since gone. But it's a pencil sharpener.
I feel left out. I don't have anything here. I'm looking around. I don't have anything. I have this thing called a pen here with me.
Well,
sharpen
Barry,
the
you
pencil,
said
it will.
Isn't that cool?
Very-
Look at that.
you sent me pictures. Did any of those things have you sent a couple more pictures of things. Did any of those have significance, or did you want to talk about those?
Yeah, I sent you the Dinky Enterprise. I had there's a company called Dinky that made die-cast metal toys, and that was probably one of the most coveted toys that I had ever seen on a shelf inside a toy store in a glass case. And I looked at that for a year, and I always would nudge my mom every time we went in there. I'm like, Mom, that Christmas, see that? Yeah, I want that. That's something I want. And lo and behold, the very next Christmas, I think for 1978, maybe 77, I got that sucker for Christmas. And that was one of the best I don't know why, but you just remember, you don't remember every last thing you got for Christmas, but the Dinky Enterprise was great. And then Stretch Armstrong, man, how cool was that toy? I got a Stretch Armstrong. A friend of mine had the Stretch Monster, and it was so fun playing with Stretch Armstrong. And that's just two that come to mind toy wise and memory wise. But the Dinky Enterprise, I could have never gotten another toy the rest of my life, and I would have been happy. That's not true, but I say it. But yeah.
So this is mine right here. Let me zoom in on it.
Batmobile.
Not a dinky,
best.
not a dinky, but a
Erdl.
a corgi. This
Corgi,
was
the other one. Yeah. Okay. Corgi.
And it was I got this probably when I was 5 or 6. I love you can see Batman underneath it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
It had on the top here this rock. They would fire little rockets out of this guy. It had Batman and Robin figures in it, and it had a ram that would pop out. And as the wheels move, you can see the flame kind of still moves in and out, not really very well. This got mauled by a dog when I was a kid, and so got eaten and chewed up. And I still saved it because I loved it so much. My wife, a few years back, got me the replica that was out there. Still has the Batman on the bottom. I mean, it's not quite the same, but it is in a lot better condition than this one. But that's probably one of my most cherished toys that I still have.
May I say that with all the Batmobiles that have come out with the movies and all the future ones that will come out and the new ones and the technological advancements, that one is still my all-time favorite Batmobile. Is that one?
Mine as well.
Will always be my favorite one.
Mine as well. I mean, I like the Keaton one, the 89 Keaton one. Thought it was really cool, but it doesn't pull at the heartstrings and just have that power of nostalgia the way that the 66 Batmobile does. Pat, did you talk about your thing? Anything
Well,
else?
I didn't talk about my thing, but I showed him
Did
a
we
picture
talk about your thing?
on my phone. So
I don't have a camera that big. I don't know.
But
thank God for Zoom. Anyways,
come on and Zoom. Come on and Zoom on Zoom.
Wide
Come on and
screen
Zoom.
format.
Let me zoom in for that. Hang on a second.
I actually, I'm not too good at displaying, but I got into collecting these dioramas of Star Trek. Here, of course,
I love it.
the Man Trap.
Yes. What a great episode.
I have one of Amok Time where it is so. I have it packed away because I don't want it to get hurt. But it's got everything. The detail is beyond belief. They really spent a lot of good time on making these things look like the characters, which is a plus.
You only bring a mock time out once every 7 years to look at it.
Yeah, well, it stays out. Well, you know what? That's right. When the Ponfar kind of kicks in.
It's in Pomfar condition.
Yeah. It's like, feeling a little frisky. Time to pull out the Amok Time.
Love it. Very cool. Very cool. One of these days, Pat, you'll need to make a video just all your different Star Trek things, like just a kind of a Star Trek Hall of Fame museum video walkthrough.
I have 40 Hallmark Star Trek ornaments.
Wow.
That's an amazing tree. That's an amazing tree right there.
Yeah, it literally takes up a whole tree.
Wow.
Did you guys see the new Hallmark that's coming out this year from The Empire Strikes Back? Were you ever see that one? It's a diorama. It's I guess about this big. If you can see my hands here, it's about this big. But it's the carbon chamber from Empire Strikes Back, and it's got Chewie standing there with 3PO on his back. Leia is there. Han is in the middle. Vader is looking at him. You press the button. Han goes down into the carbonite. You hear this light flash and everything, and he comes back out of the top, frozen.
Right,
and it's an ornament, and it's incredible.
Yeah. They're out of control. I mean, their ornaments you can't even put on trees anymore because they're just these classical.
Yeah,
colossal.
Yeah,
you need to do like my pal Alan Sanders and just have 5 Christmas trees. He's got one in every room every year.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that knowing what little I know about Alan, but just a little bit. That sounds like Alan. That's
He's seeking help. I'm trying to help him out with that.
Very cool. I might end up getting a text here.
All right. Let's do this. we might be able to keep this to an hour and a half if the quiz is the trivia quiz is 5 questions. They're all Tops related. Tops bubblegum card related. One of them kinda, but mostly, if that makes any sense. You'll see when I ask the question. Are you guys all able to stick around for 15, 20 minutes more while we play some trivia?
Sure. It's the RetroPALooza. I'm here all night.
Okay. All
You're
right.
stuck with me.
Very often.
Awesome.
I say we do an all-nighter.
Okay, let's do it then. Let me go ahead and pull it up on the screen. Let's share. Slides, Tops trivia. There we go. And hang on one second. All right, folks, you know the rules. You know how we play this game. I'm going to put a timer on the screen that will give folks about 30 seconds to just kind of answer. If you want to answer in the chat, feel free. If you want to just kind of lock it in your noggin, feel free. We won't share. I won't ask any of these experts in Tops Bubblegum. I won't ask any of them to give me an answer until about 30 seconds. You got time to think about it.
Dave, are you doing the electric shock if we get it wrong, if we hold the computer with our left hand?
Man, I should have set that up. But next time, Barry. Next time. But let's go ahead and get rolling. Question number 1. Which decade did Tops release their first non-sports bubblegum card series? Was it the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, or the 70s? And I'll put the timer on the screen, and we'll just kind of ruminate about this. So you guys, I had a few baseball cards, and I remember hockey cards as well. I had football cards. I still have some baseball cards. Mark McGuire. I hung on to a Mark McGuire card thinking it was going to be worth something. And then, of course, the whole doping thing kind of ruined the value of that card. But I can't, most of you said it was non-sports cards, but did any of you do the sports cards too?
No,
I didn't. No.
No, I must confess I did not. No.
Okay, so then this question's perfect for you guys. What decade did they release their first non-sports bubblegum series? Anybody, any of my pals want to offer up
Mine would only be a guess, but it's a guess based on the decade itself. I'm going to say it was probably the 60s, and I'm going to say it was probably 1960, like really early when they did it. So it's my best guess.
What do you think, Bob?
I agree. I would have guessed the 60s.
Pat?
Yeah, same.
You are all wrong. The correct answer is
50s.
The 50s.
Oh, was it 59?
And it was a Hop-Along Cassidy card series that Tops did. And here's the thing that blew my mind. And by the way, I wouldn't have got it right either. I would have said 60s. They actually, Hop-Along was the first bubblegum card that Tops officially did as Tops. Now there's an asterisk to that in a minute, but I don't want to share too much because it leads into another question. But they did their first sports bubblegum series a year later in 1951. So 50 was Hop-Along Cassidy and other Western stars, I think. And then 51 was when they did baseball. There were baseball trading cards before then, but we're talking about Tops, the company. Theirs was in 51.
Wow.
So we all got it wrong. We all got it wrong.
We all got it wrong, including me.
That means that we're RetroPal losers, right?
You've been saving that one.
Oh, there it was, though.
Folks, because there's only 5 questions, I just asked for a final score at the very end, but we are all 0 for 1. Moving on to number 2. Oh, man, did I just give this? If you listen to me, you know it. Question number 2. Which trading card set did Tops release first?
I have a guess.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't listen to you.
B, basketball, C, Batman, or D, Hop-Along Cassidy. I'm horrible. This is your free parking one. This is, if you listen to me.
That's a typo. It's E, none of the above. Come on. That's
right.
Now I feel bad because Dave will think I don't listen to him.
Yeah, Pat, you're going to answer the question first.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, what's the question?
Do we need 30 seconds? We don't really. Pat, what's the answer?
You don't need 30 seconds to get the wrong answer. You just don't. Okay.
Just hop right along, will you?
Okay. Here I go. Baseball.
Oh! The correct
Still got
answer
it.
is D. Hopalong Cassidy.
Still got it
I
wrong.
was going to say
Well
that.
done,
Believe
Pat.
it or not, I really was.
Hopefully I haven't said anything else. I need to just shut up because the more I talk, I give away additional answers. So here, let's go to number 3. Okay. The Mars Attacks Bubblegum series was originally released in which decade? The 50s, A, B, the 60s, C, the 70s, or D, the 90s? Timers going.
Thankfully won my speed. I love it.
Yeah. Mars Attacks Bubblegum series originally released in what decade? Did anybody like the Burton movie?
Oh,
I
yeah.
did. I really enjoyed it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
It's not unusual.
Yeah, it was one of those. I'm a big Tim Burton fan, but I don't know if that was my favorite of his movies.
What
But
about
it was
him?
certainly, certainly imaginative.
Mhm.
I'm with Dave on that one. Yeah.
Anybody want to give us a guess?
Go
Bob?
Flash.
B, the 60s.
That is correct. B, the 60s is correct. All right, 2 more questions.
That's what I was going to say.
I figured you guys would. We all had that one. We knew the 60s. Which superhero was the very first to have a trading card? A, Batman, B, Spider-Man, C, Superman, or D, Wonder Woman? Timer's going. Again, superhero, first trading card, Batman,
These are
Spider-Man, Superman. Or
great
Wonder
questions.
Great questions to make me look bad. I love it.
I've got a guess, but I don't know if the other guys want to guess first.
Okay. Well, Barry, you're as good to guess as anyone else on
I'll
this.
guess he's the oldest one. I'll guess C, Superman.
You are guessing correctly.
I got that right too.
Now, here's the deal. The cards were released in the 1940. And it was released by a company that was called the Bubblegum Company, but they were acquired by Topps, so it still counts.
Okay.
Superman trading cards, very first superhero, the first. Then later on, I think both Spider-Man and Batman were 66.
Let's go track down those Superman cards and see how much they're going for now.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what they would be worth? All right. One final question. The question to end all questions. Which popular television show did not have a Topps Bubblegum card series during the 70s? And don't worry, this isn't one of those trick ones where the other answer is a Don Roos, card. They actually didn't have a card series. So timer's going. Your choices are A, Battlestar Galactica, B, Charlie's Angels, C, Welcome Back Kata, or D, WKRP in Cincinnati. We'll let people ruminate about this for another 10 seconds or so. And then, Pat, I don't think I've picked on you for a while.
Although I still feel picked on. Whatever. I know this one.
I figured you might. Which was the correct answer here, my friend?
Oh, of course, everybody knows it's WKRP.
Yeah. No WKRP cards. All of the others had cards in the mid to late 70s.
If they'd had them, I would have bought them. That's for sure.
Oh, me too.
And
That
feels
like that was a missed opportunity. There should have been WKRP cards.
Could you imagine the border of the card and Johnny Fever on the mic, and at the bottom it says "booger!" exclamation point. Booger. That'd be the best card of the lot.
Absolutely. All right, let's get some
Great
final
quiz.
scores. Let me go ahead and take this off the screen. I would have been on this particular thing. I would have been a measly 3 of 5. I'm not sure where you fellers would land. Barry, would you know where you would have landed on this one? 2
That
of
was
5
me.
for Pat.
I think I was 3 of 5, I believe.
Okay,
I'm
3
pretty
of 5
sure.
for Barry. What about you?
3 of 5. 3 of
Okay.
5. Yes.
All right, let me see if I can get some scores here from folks. I got to scroll down to some new comments. Let's see. Here we go. Looks like this is the start of the scores. We got Crow Minion with 3 of 5. I'm not going to put them on the screen. I'm just going to read them. Channel member Zuperplex, 2 of 5. Keith Wilkinson, 3 of 5. Terrell Eugene Bellinger, 4 of 5. Gloop Trekker, 3 of 5. Channel member Tracy Rothmeyers, thanks for joining us tonight. Tracy, 2 of 5. Gary Carpenter, 2 of 5. Channel member Angela McArdle, she knows her tops, 5 of 5.
Wow.
Dolph Quick, 4 of 5. Let's see. Channel member Sean Innes was 3 of 5. Feels pretty good about it. You should. Channel member Keith E, 3 of 5. David C, 3 of 5. Gloop Trekker says they would have, for sure, there would have been a Turkeys Away card. Can you imagine that card?
Oh, yeah.
Certainly, yeah.
My God, I thought Turkeys would fly.
God is my witness.
The horror. What did he say when he was watching that? I can't remember.
The humanity.
The humanity. Oh, the humanity. That's what it was. Oh, the humanity.
Leave it to
Hindenburg
WKRP to parody the Hindenburg disaster and get away with it. That's crazy.
Hey, that old toy guy. Is that Commander Clark? Is
That's
that
Commander Clark. Yeah, of course.
5 of 5. 5 of 5.
He's on it.
Yeah. 2 of 5 for John H. Allo Duarte, 3 out of 5. Tug got 4 out of 5. That's
Way to
nice.
go, Tug.
But contends that the first Topps trading card was baseball, so I should be 5 of 5. Hey, Tug, you do your research on that. I contend Hopalong was 50, baseball was 51, but let's talk about that later, my friend. Let's see. Brian Rickerson thinks that a turkey drop card would have been awesome as well. Dave Rasmussen got 2 of 5. Ms. Elizabeth, the Music Girl 67, channel member, got 3 of 5. Melissa Foster, 2 of 5. Channel member Emily Miller, 2 of 5. It says, but the Topps question about the first cards disagrees with the answers as well. So there are people that are taking me to task on
We've
that.
got a flag on the field? Really?
Yeah, I got a flag on the field. I'll have to go back and look, but
Hey, you gave them
me
one
wrong,
answer.
people.
You already gave
Prove
them
me
one
wrong.
answer, so they should be happy about that.
That's right. Prove me wrong in the comments.
Emily has entitlement issues.
Yeah.
4 of 5 for Sakina McMurrin. Let's see. Mr. Lead wiped out with 1 of 5. Let's see. Baked Bean says something about a Bobby comment. I don't know what's going on there. One of these days, I'll have to go back. I tell everybody this, and I try to most of the time. I like to go back and watch these things, not because I enjoy listening to myself or watching myself again. That is not the case. That always is a bit of a struggle, but I do love kind of listening to the conversation and reading then and focusing on the comment thread, the chat. It's just a whole layer of context and fun that gets added to, that we don't, as you know, when we're actually doing the live stream, we don't really get to participate in. But congratulations to those folks that got 5 of 5. Wow, that's incredible tonight. And
Better than us.
Worthy of some love. All right, guys, now's the time when we promote our channels and talk about what we're doing. And I'm just going to go clockwise. I'm going to start with my friend BK on the air. You want to tell us what's going on in your world, my friend?
Well, yeah, I can. And thanks, guys, for pulling this together again. I love getting together and doing this every chance that we get. It's always fun to be together because we're of a like nostalgic mind, and we're the nostalgic crew here, the pack. And I love it. I've got a radio show. This is not all I do. I'm on from 10 a.m. till noon Eastern every Saturday on WBHF Radio. I'm in Cartersville, Georgia, a suburb just north of Atlanta. And you can hear me live 10 till noon, WBHFradio.org. You can stream me on the website, or you can download the free TuneIn or Radio Garden apps and listen to my show for 2 hours on Saturday to I kind of bring that Saturday morning feel back, because there's no more Saturday mornings on television anymore. They've kind of disappeared. So I kind of bring that back, that nostalgic retro geekiness, schoolhouse rock, 10 lunchbox feel to Saturday mornings. And I'm your retro radio rocket man on WBHF. And if you miss it, fear not. If you did not hear me live, you can actually go to my YouTube channel. I turned the wishful thinking. I turned the radio show into a podcast after I'm off the air, and I take all the local commercials out and add my own cool 60s, 70s, and 80s commercials, special effects, sound effects, clips from movies, trailers, things that you remember, Schoolhouse Rock that you grew up with, little audio bits and bytes there, and just kind of George Lucas spruce it up a little bit with a special edition shine on it. And you can hear me on SoundCloud. You can hear me on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel. I mentioned that. And I'm also on Spotify and Spotify for podcasters. So check me out. It's BK on there. And I was love to hear you check in with me.
It's awesome. And I do love your podcast. It's super shiny for sure.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Pat, you're up. What are you doing these days besides the upcoming concert? I hope somebody puts that on YouTube. I can't wait to, maybe watch a little bit of that.
Well, okay. Well, I should start with that then. The band Kurth and Taylor, which was part of the band that was on General Hospital 22 years ago, is reuniting. It's just the three main guys, me and Kurth and Taylor, at the General Hospital fan weekend in Glendale on the 30th of this month. So it'll be fun because we haven't played together in a few years, and we've known each other for so long that it's easy to get it back together. But this is going to be all acoustic, which is not something I'm used to. It means I've got to play a little different. So I'm looking forward to that challenge very much so. I don't know if it's going to be streamed. It will be filmed, no doubt about that. So I know stuff will pop up, everywhere, especially with close-ups on every mistake I make. And so there's that. I have my YouTube channel still, and I'm still active, folks. It's been one of those half years where I've been trying to get material together. Things have popped up, and you know what? The good news was I got a message from YouTube that says you have achieved 250,000 views on your channel. And I thought, wow, that's great. My subscribership must be just as well. Anyway, it's like 1900. Oh, okay. And so still doing that. And I also have my podcast, Retro TV Radio, which is on hiatus right now. We're trying to find people to be on it. Actors are very busy right now with the strike, and everybody's trying to be supportive of that. So it's kind of like everybody's on a hiatus. I had Julie Newmar. That would have been just amazing. And she fell and broke her leg 2 months before her 90th birthday, hit her head too. So that her new book that she was going to start to promote has been put off. But one of the healthiest specimens for an elderly lady. I believe she's going to recover, hopefully, and I'll be able to talk to her soon. But that's available on just about every popular podcast platform, Retro TV Radio. And so that's what's happening.
Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff, folks. If you haven't subscribed to that podcast, I have devoured every single interview, and Pat's a great interviewer. So please,
thanks,
if you haven't subscribed to him on YouTube, which you should subscribe to all these guys, but for bare minimum, get the podcast.
Pat, I know you're in between seasons, Pat, or whatever, but don't come back after dying and come back in the shower and then see it's all a dream from the last season. Please don't do that to us.
Good morning, and you can have a good morning too.
Please.
All right, the king of the live streams, Mr. Thrash Pondo Pons. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Well, of course, I have my channel, Thrash Pondo Pawns, which is a nostalgia channel with vintage sci-fi horror movies, TV, a specialty, some literature as well. But I also get a lot of mileage with my humor department. my ongoing saga of presenting the 10 worst dad jokes of history. I'm up to about 13 now, I believe, of those. My creepy classics and whatnot. So it's a blend of horror and humor, or humor and horror, whichever you will. And of course, yes, I do my live chats every Sunday. But as an added bonus, I'm going to be now. I've been doing 2 shows a week. I've been doing Monday shows as well, but I'm looking into actually expanding. It won't always be Mondays. As one of our favorite YouTubers of all time is going to be doing less Wednesday night shows, he has graciously hinted to me to pick up the slack, and I have very gratefully accepted. So you're going to be seeing Thrash Pondo not only doing Mondays, but occasionally doing Wednesday chats, and I'm going to try to do as an exemplary job as this man did and try to fill in his shoes. But anyway, all of you folks who have subscribed and recent subscribers, I'm looking forward to seeing you again very soon. And to all of you folks who have not subscribed to my channel, please do. It's a lot of fun. Ask the other folks in the chat, and we'll see you real soon. Peace.
Did I notice a similarity, a word that we all share? Is it nostalgia? Is that what we all share? Yeah.
That and subscribe.
That and subscribe. Monetize.
We share that word a lot.
Well, it's you know what? There's nothing I enjoy doing more than actually waxing nostalgic with you 3 fellers. It's these RetroPALooza events are highlights of whenever we do them, and I appreciate Barry you keeping us on track. We may have gone a month or 2 more without that text a couple of weeks ago saying, "No, it's time. So guys, keep me honest as we move forward so that we can continue to do this, because it's to me, we can all live stream, and the live streaming's fun and it's great to connect with the community, but these are truly special events for me. So thank you so much to all 3 of you for joining, taking time out of your evening tonight to visit with me and to remember to think back about the good stuff and trading cards, lunchboxes, and all sorts of toys. They definitely are. And huge thank you to each member of the community. I mean, this group, without you guys, we would not be here. We're not, quite frankly, we got to have someone hanging out with us. It would be no darn fun without each one of you. So a special thank you to Larry Potter, who dropped a really nice super chat at the beginning of the live stream tonight. That's truly appreciated. You don't know how much that's appreciated, Larry. Thank you for doing that. And you know what? You've just been such a great support over the years. I want to make sure I didn't just gloss over that. I was excited to share my new song, but I want to make sure you know how much we appreciate you, Larry. But beyond that, this community, you're great. Thanks to each one of you. Thanks for sharing your memories tonight. And thanks for your support for all the stuff that we do. We've talked about a lot of different projects here, our YouTube channels and various other efforts. We truly appreciate each one of you. And of course, I feel like it's always important to bring Fred Rogers on at the very end of each of these live streams to share just truly how we feel.
You are special.
Yay.
All right, folks. Hey, have a great night. Thanks to each one of you, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you, Dave.
Ciao for now. Thanks again.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Night.